everybody, and welcome back to Crazy Bees. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. We really got sick with this really bad cold. I even got it in my eyes. It was crazy. But we're back to it. Just got home from work. Had to take a whole week off of work, and that's very unusual for me. So I was gifted from Kelly, thank you so much, some onions, some starts, and in the Mel Bartholomew Square Foot Gardening book, it says that you can do 3, 4 times 4, 16 per square foot. So she gave me quite a few. So I have like 1.5 foot here. I've got my Square Foot Gardening template here, and I'm just going to be using a pencil to put the holes in so I can see what I'm doing. By the time spring comes around, we are going to have to get a bunch of compost to fill up all of our beds, because they're running pretty, they're getting pretty low. This one's needs about that much soil. So we're going to pop these in. You don't want to pop them in all the way though. You only want to cover about this far, because that's where your bulb kind of like starts coming out of the dirt. So if you have it too far down in there, it's not going to grow very well. So let's get these popped in there. These are the Texas Super Sweets. So let's start with that. Okay, now we've got the Texas Super Sweet done. I've got the white Bermuda done. Now we're working on the yellow Garnish. I'm just putting a rock right here right now to separate the rows. I'm going to have to figure out something, maybe a little bit of netting to put right there. I'm definitely going to cover everything with some tulle to keep our biggest rat, Scarlet, out from eating the onions, because she will, and any other varmints where these are concerned. So let's get going on the yellow Garnish. I've been trying to pull out the root of these okra plants, because I don't want my onions getting wrapped around that. Oh, you know, they say mint takes over your gardens if you don't put it in a container. I have to say oregano is like that too. I've got oregano over here and it is just gone wild. I need to get it back so that I can plant more of my onions in here. But they're kind of like Bermuda grass with their, look at their roots. I think I showed you with this, the mint. They just get roots all the way along here and they just keep traveling. So we need to cut that back. It smells delicious. I almost cut my sprinkler line. Those okra roots are deep. Look at all of these little runners that we have of this. I'm going to have to really watch it with the onions so they don't come back and croak out my onions. Back to the onions. There's the yellow Garnish. I think I can fit one more variety here, but then I'm going to have to find a different space for the rest of them. Thanks again, Kelly. And she was smart. She got the right ones for our area. If you remember in one of my other videos, I had done seeds and I didn't look up the different seeds for your zone. And I had done a couple long days and intermediates. You can do intermediates here, but you really need short days. She did her homework and most of these are short days. So hopefully we have better luck this year. That and between that and the container gardening and me not being consistent with my watering, that also made a huge difference. Okay. The last variety I think I'm going to put in here is the red candy apple. That sounds really good. Look at the size of these things. They're just beautiful. Okay, we've got the red candy apple in, the yellow Garnish, the white Bermuda, and the Texas sweet, all in this bed. I'm really going to have to watch that oregano so it doesn't croak out my onions and get intermixed, because those roots go pretty deep. We still have to find a space for the red Creole. I think I'm going to put it in. I have half of one of my horse chops on this side and the other horse chop on the other side. And I think I'm going to stick some in that one and some in that one. And then we'll have our onions planted. They'll be happy. They'll be in the ground. They're getting hydrated. That's a win. Okay, perfect timing. Just got this in and the sprinklers just went off. So we do have drip in these beds right here. I am going to still do the edging. Get them a nice drink. We're out of the freezing temperatures. I'll have to show you what damage happened there. I can't complain though. At least we're in a zone where we can still grow things. We lose some stuff, but at least we can still grow. I think everything got hit harder this year with the heat than what happens with the frost so far. Okay, we'll let these guys settle in for the night and come back out tomorrow and try to get some more chores done. For dinner tonight, we are going to have a hot dish. You can call it a casserole. In the Midwest, where this recipe comes from, they call it a hot dish. It's a chicken cashew, cashew chicken hot dish. That's how it's written. So I'm starting by, it calls for chicken that's not yet cooked. Well, Tom had smoked a bunch of chicken over the weekend, so I want to make sure that we use that. So I'm using that delicious smoked flavored chicken in this recipe. And the other thing that I'm going to do is, when I'm making these recipes, I'm going to always double my recipe this year. And I'm going to make one dish for tonight, and then I have a aluminum pan that I am going to put the other one in, so that we have that for a future day when things are crazy busy and we just need to pop something in the oven. So one for now, one for later. I think that'll help us out a lot. I'm making the dish anyway, why not just double the recipe while I'm at it? So I'm starting by, it calls for, in the original recipe, 4 halved chicken breasts. So I'm taking my chicken and I am slicing it in half. You could even use a rotisserie chicken if you wanted to, and just, peel the chicken off the bone, but you want to try to make sure that you have the equivalent of what would be 4 halves or 2 whole chicken breasts. The reason I think they want you to cube it after you have it is so that you don't have huge chunks of chicken in your hot dish. So I am cutting these up into cubes, and then it also calls for cashews. And I had raw cashews, and I thought it would be a lot better and tastier if I put them in the oven and roasted them. So I did the oven at 275, and I had them in there for about 20 minutes. I actually forgot about them. I didn't set a timer, and then I was like, what does that smell? Oh yeah, I have cashews in the oven. So I can't tell you the exact time that I had them in there. Best thing to do is every 15 minutes go in there and stir them until they get the brown that you like them and roasted. So thankfully my nose worked well and I didn't burn them. So I'm going to finish prepping this chicken and then we'll take the next step. Currently in the saucepan we have a mixture of red and green onions. These were pre-chopped that I had in the freezer. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of liquid in there. I did put 4 tablespoons of butter in here because, like I said, I'm doubling this recipe, so it had called for 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to get all this liquid to burn off and these onions to soften up, and then we're going to add some mushrooms to this mix. Okay, while our onions are finishing boiling off, I am going to, they're not boiling off, while the water is receding, I am going to add that chicken because it needs to warm up before we add the rest of the stuff to the hot dish. But I do want to add those mushrooms first because they have to cook down. The original recipe calls for 10 ounces of mushrooms in the can, and I wanted to do fresh. So I have got 16 ounces of fresh mushrooms right here that we are going to add to this mix. And we're going to cook down these mushrooms, and then we'll add that chicken. Now that our mushrooms are cooked down a bit, we are going to add that chicken and get that warmed up. Once that warms up and is a little bit softer, we'll be adding the rest of the ingredients and getting it all put together. The other thing I did was boiled 3 cups of water and added 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. I am out of my broth, or I would have used my homemade broth. Our ingredients are all ready to go. We are going to spray, oh, I gotta get that other pan. We're going to spray our pans lightly with a cooking spray, just so that they don't stick. Then we're going to start adding our ingredients. And I can't do that very well without a spoon. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is put our chicken in the bottom of the pan. We're going to do half in this one and then half in this pan. Make sure that I'll put an extra spoonful in that one. Okay. Then we're going to take 1 cup of rice to each pan. This is a half measuring scoop. Oh, so this will be the rest. And this is the bouillon we were already talking about. We need to add some ginger to that. So I've got about what I need. So I'm just going to dump that into the water, to our chicken bouillon water. Get that little bit that's left in there. And then 1.5 of this water will go into one and 1.5 into the other. So we used jasmine rice, and usually when you're using not like a minute rice or anything like that, but you're using a regular long grain rice, you usually have to add about 1/2 cup more water than you do rice. It's not 1-to-1. So let's put 1.5 into this one. Okay, and 1.5 in this one. And this recipe does not call for cheese. I am a cheese lover, and I thought this would be amazing with some smoked Gouda. I had bought it for another recipe. Don't even ask me what it was, because I often do that. I find something I want to try, I get the ingredients, I run out of time, then I go back to make whatever it was that I had bought the ingredients for, and can't remember what it was. So then we improvise and use the ingredients for something else. Okay, we need to cook this in the oven for 30 minutes to cook that rice. Then we're going to pull it out, and we're going to add our broccoli, and we're going to add our cheese and some of the cashews. And we're not going to add all the cheese either, but we're going to add some of the cheese. So 20 minutes for now, or 30 minutes for now, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. It has been 30 minutes, and our rice is nice and cooked. All of the juices have been absorbed by the rice. Now we are going to add the broccoli. It's 2 cups of broccoli per recipe. So now we have to change things up a little bit. In this one, I am not going to cook this one anymore. I am just going to let this cool a little bit, and then later I will put it in the freezer. Because if I cook this now and then I cook it again when I'm reheating it, my broccoli is going to get very mushy, and I don't want that. So I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. We're going to use 1/2 cup of the cashews in each one of these. And then we are also going to use that smoked Gouda, which I put back in the fridge so it wouldn't get warm. We're going to put 1 container, split that in between the 2 of these, and mix these up. Then I'm going to take the one that we're eating tonight, and I will stick that back in the oven for another 10 minutes. But this one I am just going to let cool. Ooh, I don't know what I was thinking there. I just took that out of the oven. That was hot. I don't know where I put my hot pad. And I'm going to cover this one back up and stick it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. On this recipe, I may have to add another 1/2 cup of liquid to this, but we'll see how it looks after that broccoli cooks down. Right now it looks perfect. I'm hoping that it doesn't dry, that moisture doesn't leave, and I'm hoping that broccoli doesn't get dried out in there. Okay, it has been 10 minutes. Our hot dish is completely finished, and it looks delicious. I don't think I'm going to add any extra cheese. It looks like it's cheesy enough. The broccoli is completely done and beautiful. I am going to add some extra cashews to the top. and then serve it up. Ooh, doesn't that look good? That's what's for dinner tonight. Thank you guys for spending time with us, and it's way too hot for me to try, but I'll give you a review on it down in the description below. And I will also link this recipe. And if you want to see what we're up to next week, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.